Hi guys, this is number 2 video. We were dealing with true imaginary numbers that only had imaginary parts. But we also have another type. It's called complex numbers. And a complex number is a number that has both the imaginary and real components. This is a real part. This is the imaginary part. So because of that, you can kind of set up equations. Two distinct parts. So you'd have 3x equals 15 to find out what x is. 3x equals 15. I'm sure you've already thought of it. X is 5, which is true. And 25i here equals 5yi. Well, if you divide off by the 5i, which is everything the y is not, you would end up with 5. So y equals 5, just like x does in this case. All right. So in this case, I didn't put the colors in for you, but you've still got the real part versus the imaginary part. So you're going to have 2x equals negative 8. Divide by 2, so x equals negative 4. Or negative 6i equals 20yi. And you're going to divide by 20i, because that's everything that y is not. And y is going to equal negative. They're both even, so you divide by 2. And we've got the i's canceling out, so you'd have negative 3/10 is going to be what your y is. So it's not too hard, it's just that you're going to have to make sure you understand what the real part is and what the imaginary part is. Okay. Complex numbers can be added, subtracted, and multiplied. The like terms would then be added. So right here, I left one again for you. I like to leave these that you can look back up and see. 4 minus 3i plus negative 4 plus 3i. The signs back here will remain the same because the plus is not going to change it any. So you would have 4 plus a negative 4 and a negative 3 plus 3. 4 plus negative 4 is 0. They both cancel out. And a negative 3i and a positive 3i would cancel out. So that's just 0. Everything's 0. Okay? On this one, we have a negative, so that's going to affect all of your signs back here. So 5 minus 3i stays the same. Then it's when you have a negative 2, it's going to be a positive 2. And a negative positive 4i is going to be a negative 4i. So 5 plus 2, and negative 3i minus 4i. 5 plus 2 part, the real part is 7. And negative 3i minus 4i is negative 7i. Okay? So right here you've got 2 plus 3i plus 5 minus 7i. You are going to, with the plus, write it down exactly the way that it is. Plus 5 minus 7i. And then you're going to put the like terms together. 2 plus 5. And then the 3i minus 7i. 2 plus 5 is 7. And 3i and negative 7i is negative 4i. So your final answer would be 7 minus 4i. Okay? Now, the next one we've got is 4 minus 9i. That negative changes the signs back here. So you're going to have negative 7 and negative 8i. So you're going to put the 4 and the 7 together, and then negative 9i and negative 8i together. And that's going to give you negative 3 minus 17i. And that's going to be your like terms right there. Everybody okay? All right, the same thing's happening here. And except you've got some more negatives you've got to deal with. Got to make sure you know what you're doing with that. These are the questions that are going to be on your notes quiz. So make sure you're paying attention right now with these negative signs I'm getting ready to do. 11 minus 2i. A positive with a negative would make that negative. Positive with a negative would make that negative. So when you put them together, you'll have 11 minus 9, minus 2i, and minus 8i, which makes 2 minus 10i. That's it. For this comes out as is, negative 4 plus 9i. A negative with a negative would change that to a positive 5, and a negative with that positive would change that to a negative 6. So negative 4 plus 5, and then plus 9i minus 6i, gives you 1 plus 3i. So not too bad. These are the 4 that you're going to be turning into me. And then we've got multiplication. You do want to be careful of the multiplication because, number one, sometimes you're going to add these things or subtract them, or you'll multiply them when you've got a plus or minus. This is the first thing to note. Is there a plus or a minus between them? There is not. So this is multiplication. These will act just like your FOIL that you've done before. First, outside, inside, last. Okay? Or double distributive property. So 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times negative 7i is negative 14i. 3i times 5 is positive 15i. And 3i times negative 7i is negative 21i squared. Do not forget that your I squared is negative 1. So when you do this, you will have 10, negative 14i, and 15i, positive 15i, is positive I. This is negative 21 times negative 1. So you end up with 10 plus I plus 21. Or 31 plus I. You will always end up with the same a plus bi form that you started out with. You should not have an I squared involved. So right here, 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 8i is 32i. Negative 9i times 7 is negative 63i. And negative 9i times 8 is negative 72i squared. So this is 28, 32, and a negative 63 means it's going to be negative because the bigger number is a negative. 3 minus 2 is 1, and 6 minus 3 is 3, so negative 31i. Then I have negative 72 times negative 1 of the I squared. 28 plus 72 minus 31i. It's going to leave you 100 minus 31i. And that's your final answer. Okay? Now, on the next one, I did write one here I want you to be very careful about. When you see this squared, make sure that you write it completely out and then multiply it the same way you have done before. Okay? You will want to make sure that you still do your first, your outside, your inside, and your last. So 11 times 11 is 121. 11 times negative 2i is negative 22i. Negative 2i times 11 is negative 22i again. And negative 2i times negative 2i is positive 4i squared. So this is going to give you 1 minus 22, and negative 22 is a negative 44i, plus 4 times negative 1. That just does not change. So you end up with 121 minus 4. Those are the like terms there, which is 117 minus 44i. This one, they will put those on there just to mess with your mind. So make sure you pay attention and write it all the way out. This next one's problem on your notes quiz. And that's it. So, I'll see you soon.